Hi, everybody. My name's Tabitha. I would like to thank you for coming out. We are going to be discussing a matter that affects many people and needs to be taken very serious. It's on the realm of abuse, and unfortunately, too many people suffer from this, and not enough people take it seriously. So, again, thank you for coming out to get yourself educated on this matter and see what you can do to roll up your sleeves to help somebody along the way. We're going to be discussing gaslighting and exactly what that is. As Rachel Knoll from Medical News Today describes it, it is a form of abuse that can cause someone to doubt their own sanity. This is used with a form of psychology called conditioning. It causes someone that is being controlled by a person or entity to not trust their own memories, their own feelings, their own senses, basically causing an internal war with themselves and doubting their own mental well being. So you can see how serious this can be, especially when it's happening from someone that they trust or love. How it's done is really a complicated matter, and believe it or not, takes a lot of education and time. So, we're going to get into the tactics on how it's done and why. As Stephanie Sarkis from Psychology Today describes it, it's used for power and control, which those of you that are familiar with the cycle of abuse, there is a power and control wheel that talks about how the cycle of abuse happens. There's even a stage where there's a honeymoon period in it. Gaslighting came about in 1944 with a movie that they created to raise awareness when a husband was trying to manipulate a wife to make her think that she was crazy and would go around the house dimming the house lights, which were gas lights, and would lower them, and she would speak on it, and he tried to make her think that she was hallucinating. So with that, you can see how that would make her doubt her own mental well-being. So an example of this would be, for instance, if you placed your keys somewhere and you know that you put them there, and you go to get them and they're no longer there, and the only person in the house tells you, well, I didn't move them. Or say you're at a party and your friend falls down because she had too many drinks and her high heel broke. And a couple weeks down the road, this person that you trust is telling you, oh no, well, she didn't have any drinks and her high heel didn't break. Then you're starting to be like, well, questioning yourself because this is a person you trust. They're just examples, and they're very minimum on the extreme that it can go to. Another form of this is like with the keys. You put the keys down somewhere, the person that's in the house with you is then telling you, no, I didn't move them, you're crazy, why would you blame me for that, right? Now this person's going to go to your friends or your family and say, oh my gosh, she's going crazy, she thinks I did this, 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 and this, and this. All right, so they're going to use it as a way to try to get people against you. The main cause of that, and it's very important to understand, is that they want to isolate you. The abuser wants to isolate the person that is being on the receiving end of being gaslit, if you may. They want them to be completely dependent, as all abusers. They prefer to have control. That is really the number one cause, purpose for abuse. And unfortunately, we do not have any laws that go against being gaslit, as it's not a physical thing. Many times, people who are going through this mental abuse and verbal abuse will become victims of physical abuse down the road. They like to use this, the abuser likes to use this as a way to try to get control of the brain, make you doubt yourself, and keep you away from people that are willing to help you. This can make you feel like you're worthless. This can make you feel like you don't have any self value. This can cause a lot of self doubt, like I said, with that internal war that you have going on within. Um, and it can also cause a misdiagnosis on mental illness, because if you go to someone and you don't have proper proof of what you're saying, they're going to diagnose you with paranoia or schizophrenia, bipolar, a lot of things like that. In this situation, it can cause the person who's being manipulated and controlled to have depression, anxiety, sometimes substance abuse, and in the most severe cases, it can cause someone to cause self harm to themselves. As Stephanie Sarkis in Psychology Today describes it, there is a way to stop it, and I'm going to get into that. But first and foremost, if you've been a victim or going through this, you need to know that it's not your fault. If you think that someone is going through this, it's very important that you're supportive to them and you try to help them overcome it, because there are ways to do so. The best way to do this is to keep records, dates, times, incidences, as much as you can remember. And if the person is unable to do it, if you are a loved one of the person, it's important that you could do it for them. It's important to do this safely, because if the abuser catches on to, they will either make the abuse worse, it can escalate into physical violence, and many times physical violence can cause bodily harm, and we don't want that. We want to try to de-escalate it, not escalate it. So safely keeping documents, make someone aware of this that's going on that you trust. It could be a friend, a family member, a police officer, a pastor. Let it be someone you trust. When you're going through abuse, it's very important that you have someone that you know you can wholeheartedly trust. Especially when the purpose of the abuse is to make you dependent on the person who's abusing you. So to break that cycle, you have to have someone that you know you can trust, that's going to back you, and not be someone that the abuser can manipulate into thinking that you're crazy also. And all of these things can help you safely break free. It's very important to do these things safely, as an abuser is going to get more enraged as they know that you're becoming aware of the abuse that's happening, or that your loved one is experiencing. I know that was very short. I hope it was informative in the short time that we had together. If you or someone you know or love is going through this, it is important to know that you do not have to fight alone. There are many places that will help you get through this. And if you're interested in hearing more after this meeting, you can most definitely inbox me. I will give you my contact information, and I will do my best to seek services out for you and support you in the directions that you need to go to be able to break free from gaslighting and preventing any more abuse. Again, my name's Tabitha. This was on gaslighting, and it'll be my pleasure to help you moving forward, whether it's either to get help or become more educated. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.